Welcome back to the channel. Impermanent loss. We're going to go deep, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand how impermanent loss works and how it actually affects your position. If you're just getting into DeFi, this is going to be a really important video for you to watch. If you've been in DeFi for a while and you've been yield farming, then might be a really good review. Impermanent loss is not the end of the world. It just depends how you see things. So again, stick around for this video. By the way, this channel won't grow without your support. So if you get something of value during this video, like this video, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see it. Again, we won't be able to grow this channel, and we're passionate about DeFi because we need more people knowing about it. So do share it if you find value in any of our videos or anything on this channel. That said, impermanent loss calculator. Let's have a look at one quick thing here. I think we're all aware of this. If I set a 50-50 range in a liquidity pool, it's pretty much going to be a 50-50 split, right? Let me go to 18%-ish here. There it is, right? Pretty much going to be a 50-50% split. The reason it's not is because it's a few decimal points off here, but you get the point. If I go 50-50 in this instance, SUI and USDC, then I'll go 50% in SUI and 50% in USDC. Let me know if that's making sense so far, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Now, what if the prices of, let's just say, SUI start moving? One of the assets starts moving. Let's just say the price starts moving down. So I'll put less SUI in the pool because this white line is moving closer to SUI. You can see that now I'm 56% SUI and 43% USDC. Or if it keeps moving closer, I'm 80% SUI and 20% USDC. Now, if I sold here, if I said, whoa, I'm out, I'm done, and I sold, I would lock in some losses because I'm 80% SUI, but SUI is worth a little less. So I would see some impermanent loss. Now, what if the price moves higher to the upside? So SUI is raising in price and it's moving to this side of the range. As you can see, this white line is moving closer to the higher side of the range. And just stick with me here. Now I've only have 27% SUI and 72% USDC. So my SUI is being sold and converted into stablecoin in this instance. And so my pool value is going up because the SUI is increasing in price and it's getting converted into stablecoin, but I wouldn't make as much as if I just held SUI and rode price appreciation. That's not taking into account the yields. So in this instance, with a bit of a tighter range, I could be earning 477% on my SUI. And so now we have to ask ourselves the question, is it better to be in a liquidity pool or is it better to actually hold the underlying asset? And I think we've shown it time and time again that if your ranges and if your position are set up right, you can get the best of both worlds. I won't get into that because we have 101 videos on that. Right now, we're just going to talk about impermanent loss. So I think the easiest way to talk about this is using the impermanent loss calculator. You can just go to dailydefi.org, tools, impermanent loss calculator. Please be aware that this impermanent loss calculator is taking into account a full range liquidity pool. The same concept applies for concentrated liquidity, but the prices can fluctuate even quicker because we're not full range. So this all makes sense. Let's say I get into SUI. Let's use a real life example here of $1.02. So I get into SUI for $1.02 and I link it with a stable coin. So if I'm in here, SUI, $1.02 linked with a $1 stablecoin, USDC. Now we can start having some fun here. If the price of SUI drops all the way down to 90 cents, what is my impermanent loss if I had $1,000 in that position? So as you can see, I have $500 of token A and $500 of token B, $500 worth of SUI and $500 worth of stablecoin, which means I have 490 SUI and 500 USDC. So if I held that and the price of SUI went down by 10%, I'd have $941 worth of assets. So my wallet balance, if I held that, would be 941 instead of 1,000 because the price of SUI went down. That makes sense. But what if I'm in a liquidity pool? Now, this is considering a full range liquidity pool, but the rules are the same. If I would have been in a liquidity pool, I would have seen 0.2% impermanent loss. It would be worth $939 instead of $941. Now you have to ask yourself, if I was in that pool for a month and I earned 10% on my $1,000, which is $100, would I have been better off holding it or in a liquidity pool? The answer is pretty obvious. In a liquidity pool all day long. We like to stay in range for as long as possible because, yeah, we earn 8, 10, 12, sometimes 14% a month on our assets, and the yields we're earning far outpace impermanent loss, especially when zoomed out over a longer time frame. Now, what if we went drastic and the price dropped to like 60 cents? Okay, if I would have held, it'd be worth $794. I would have seen a loss, of course, because the price of SUI went down. If I would have been in a liquidity pool, it's now $766. So I would have seen a 3.42% loss over just holding. Now we got to ask ourselves the question, if I was in this for 3 months, did I make more than 3%? The answer is obviously yes. Now let's go the other way. What if SUI pumps to like $1.50? Whoops, $1.50 in this instance. So a massive, it goes up by 50%. I would have seen a 1.83% impermanent loss. It doesn't mean I lost money, and this is really key here. Let me know in the comments if this makes sense. I wouldn't have lost money. I still made a ton of money, but I wouldn't have made as much as if I just held it. I would have made 1.83% more if I would have just held it. Again, full range liquidity pool, but the rules still apply. So if I would have just held these two in my wallet balance would have went from $1,000 to $1,235. If I would have been in a liquidity pool, it would be worth $1,212. So we're talking about a $20 difference here. Now we got to ask ourselves the question, if I was in this for 3 months, would I have made more than 1.83% providing liquidity? The answer is yes, like 100% for sure. So that's impermanent loss. And if you're still like, I just don't get it, just remember, this is all that's happening, is as assets move around, the allocation of the assets are no longer 50-50. If the price shoots down towards SUI in this example, then I'll have 82% of my liquidity pool be made up of SUI. Now, the only time this is a problem is if I actually just sold there, because you're locking in the losses. That's why the golden rule applies here. What assets do I want to hold long-term anyways? And where can I get yields that are worth the added complexity of adding liquidity, of being a market maker? I'm earning 100%, 120%, 180%. It's a no-brainer. Really, really hope that helps. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions around this. Better yet, just jump into the calculator and mess around. Get crazy with it. What if prices doubled? Okay, well, instead of having $1,480 in your wallet, you have $1,400. You're not like that far behind. Now you got to ask yourselves the question, if I was in it for a month, what if my yields beat impermanent loss? The answer is most likely yes. And even if they didn't, like you're down 50, 60, 80 bucks. Like that's the worst case. Now, again, if you get into risky stuff and low cap stuff and you set tight ranges, all of this is accelerated, but you get the point. So I'll let you kind of munch on this, decide, and let me know in the comments what landed. If you have any follow-up questions, happy to do a live. We do cover some of this inside our free DeFi as a business course. If you haven't grabbed it yet, please let me know below and I'll send you a link. It is well worth your time. It's about 3 to 4 hours of deep content around DeFi and yield farming and creating a yield that far outpaces any other investment opportunity you could ever think of. We're so spoiled in crypto DeFi that we sometimes forget that 100% a year or more, we're beating every hedge fund that's ever been created on planet Earth. We're literally beating the smartest people on Wall Street. That's crazy. We just forget that in crypto because we want that Shiba, pump of 5,000%, and we want to get rich or die trying. And I'm like, that's kind of like we're waiting for the lottery. Let's build a business. Really hope that helps. I'll move myself in the middle and I'll put some additional resources for your viewing pleasures. Do dive into the work, dive into the stuff, study it. This is worth studying. This is a skill that will keep paying you. So study up. The YouTube channel is here for you. If you did enjoy this video, like it, subscribe, share it with anyone you think it could help. And with that said, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you. Peace.